So what we're going to be doing today is taking a look at this ascending lick that I played at the beginning and giving you maybe a few tips and tricks on how to actually improve your alternate picking, your left and right hand coordination, and really important stuff about your actual right hand picking. So first of all, here's the tab for that actual line that I just done. It's based in the key of C sharp minor, and it's starting on the flat 7, which is the 7th fret on the low E string, and it ends up right at the 21st fret on the high E string. So nice and slow, it goes like this. So what it is essentially like a pattern of 6 notes repeated. So once you get up to the next string, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, I'm then moving my index finger up 1 note in the scale. So that would come up to the 9th fret of the A string, and then I'm just playing up the minor scale from there. Once I get to the D string, same thing, move my index finger up 1, and that's my new position. Move it up 1 note. Move it up 1. And then I shift it up to the last note in the scale. So the cool thing about this is that it's a pretty symmetrical pattern in terms of its picking, because every time you start a new string, you're doing it on an upstroke. So from the get-go, 1, 2, 3, up, new string, up, and so on. That's going to give us time to actually work on just the fundamental basics for mainly your right hand, in just being able to change strings quickly, ascending, doing it with an upstroke. Now, when you're changing strings, my sort of philosophy is, once you've nailed the actual mechanic bit of it, remember you're going from a downstroke on a lower string to an upstroke on a higher string. So if you're struggling with just that motion, simply take 2 strings, maybe the first 2 strings, and just get used to doing that motion. It's what we call an outside picking. Just make sure you can get your pick off, up and far enough down that it's ready for an upstroke. Obviously not with hitting both of them. To actually get your left and right hand to work together is just take a 3 note per string. It can be the very start of this exercise, which would be 7, 9, 11. Just get that motion down and kind of just make sure that each note and your pick are all landing at the same time. Almost robotic. What you don't want to be hearing is like your fingers getting there before your pick does, or that will happen, that my pick is getting there a little bit before my fingers are, and it doesn't really sound fluid. Another great one for actually coordinate your left and right hand is a nice warm-up that I still do to this day, that I've been doing for like nearly 10 years. And that's just the spider exercise, and that's literally, you start on the low string, you play 1, 2, 3, 4. So all 4 fingers, 1, 2, 3, 4, alternate pick it, move on to the next string. So once you get to the top string, you play the 4th fret, you move up 1 fret, and you come back down. You can do that all the way up the neck. Doesn't sound good, but it's literally there just as an exercise, just to get some more blood flowing in your hands and just more, actually coordinate your left and right hand. Now, for a lot of my students, when they're coming in wanting to learn a little bit more about how can they actually play fast and doing this alternate picking stuff, and they think that it's their left hand just not quick enough, not being able to do this stuff. But really, I find most of the time it's their right hand that's just not keeping up with the left. And that's either this isn't moving fast enough, or it's just not very accurate and you're hitting a lot of wrong strings that you shouldn't be doing. So there's a few things that I make sure to iron out very early on, just to make sure that nothing's holding you back to do with your picking hand. won't go into too much detail about how to hold the pick because I know some people hold it differently. I hold it between my index finger and my thumb. I know a lot of people do it like that. Whatever way works, whatever way you've been playing with, I guess. But mainly, try and keep everything sort of planted on your right hand and your forearm. You'll see if I play that leg, I'm kind of just moving my wrist. I'm not having any of this motion because that's just going to mess you up and you're putting more work in than you actually need to. So everything's nice and close to the strings as well. I'm really not lifting my hand off far and doing sort of an exaggerated motion because this doesn't help it. It's only going to hold you back. So less movement, pick nice and close to the strings, and just being able to make sure that you've got no wasted movement. You're not having to move more than you actually need to. You notice that if I move down, my arm is actually moving with it when I go to the lower strings. So if I start here and end up here, it's kind of this motion, rather than if I'm starting at the low E string and I have to go down to the high E string, I don't want my whole wrist to have to turn because now I have this picking angle that I'm used to, and then if suddenly I go here, my pick's almost, you know, done a 90-degree turn once it gets to the bottom. And it's just, one, it's going to feel a lot different, and it's just a bit awkward because you're reaching over when you shouldn't have to. So just get used to sort of every time you change a string, just moving your arm down just a little bit more. And I'll keep my palm actually on the strings that that I'm not playing anymore, so the lower strings. So by the time I get to the high E string, my palm and hand is actually muting all these other strings, which is a great thing for muting technique anyway. You don't want any other strings ringing out. Right, so hopefully at least some of this might have helped you out if this is something that you're struggling with. I will be making a few more videos, mainly to cover trying to come back down the strings, because it's going to be mechanically a little bit different as well. And then also, as I said earlier, about changing strings when it has to be a downstroke. Mostly you'll find that in playing pentatonic stuff. If you still have more questions, I do teach guitar. I do it online, do it in person. So if you're interested in something like that, just get in touch and we can sort you out. All right, well, that said, good luck, guys. Take care.